All right, hello everyone. Welcome to a cheeky little Penguin Academy of myself. This is the Steel Gauntlet final. Hang on, I'll let you know which Steel Gauntlet it is now. I just realized that matters. If anyone gives a shit about these things, it was Steel Gauntlet 6. So, for those who don't know, the Steel Gauntlet is essentially Fumbbls version of the Chalice, the Blood Bowl 2 Chalice, and I guess there's one in Blood Bowl 3, but it's a bit weird, where the top teams across all the races and the wild cards through the Black Box Trophy get thrown into a standard knockout cup. So it's basically the Chalice. My opponents before this were pretty strong, if I'm honest. My first round opponent was Elyod, I believe. My next opponent was Seabros. My third opponent was Yuri. And then my semi-final opponent is in chat right now. It was Wilking. I actually forgot it was you. Sorry, Wilking. And then in the final, I've got Naama, who is, yeah, Yuri the Scourge. Naama, who's probably the best Finnish player. So it was actually a really good selection of coaches that I got in the thing. It's kind of hard to get not good coaches in Steel Gauntlet outside of the first round, really. Like, it's kind of similar to the old school Blood Bowl 2 Chalice when it was, harder to qualify. Most of the coaches are at least decent and upwards. There's always at least a number of like top level coaches in there. It's a pretty good cup, even though I don't like cups in general. It's a pretty good one. So I was quite happy to get through this. However, as I mentioned before I started this recording, I was sick at the time. I wasn't playing Blood Bowl at all. These 5 Steel Gauntlet games were basically 50% of all the Blood Bowl I played that month. So I'm kind of interested in seeing, because I will have made mistakes. I'll have made mistakes if I was fully well, right? But I make a few more when I'm sick. So let's see how this goes. This was a bit of an annoyance, just straight in with sweltering heat. No one wants sweltering heat to ruin a game, especially a cup final. I should also say that the Steel Gauntlet is probably the only Fumbbl major that I kind of give a shit about cup-wise. The Black Box Trophy itself counts as a Fumbbl major. However, in recent times, Fumbbl have made some changes by introducing redraft, and it might make the other major cups more of interesting to me to try and go around and maybe win one of those. We'll see. Still a little bit iffy on them. I'll have to check the rules and who's allowed in, etc. So the two teams here, I'm Vampires. I'm very much enjoying playing Vampires at the moment. They're a strong team, but to me, the main reason I like them is that they have the highest skill, in my opinion, the highest skill ceiling in Blood Bowl. Since they've been introduced, it's become obvious that basically the better you are, the better they are. And the skill ceiling is insanely high. And the reason I say that is when we talk about Blood Bowl for the last 25 years, people always say that like playing Bash is mindless and playing Agility is like where the skill is, which I don't agree with. There's lots of skill in playing Bash, but the reason that like there probably is more skill in playing Agility better is because of number of choices. Every single turn, the teams that have the most choices therefore have the higher skill ceiling. And Agility teams, they have higher movement, higher maneuverability with their agility. They have a lot more things they can do. They have a lot more squares they can stand in. They're not just taking blocks and hoping for like dice rolling. And Vampires are that to the next degree. Like, they can do anything they want every turn. Majority of those things, not a good idea. which is where the skill comes in, right? Just because a team can do a lot of things doesn't mean that it's a good idea to do most of those things. So you have to sort through what you can do quickly, because obviously you only have 4 minutes or less. You have to sort through what you can do, what's a good idea, whether you should do it this turn, and then, as we'll find out, importantly with vampires, whether or not you should carry on doing something if it starts badly. That to me is one of the key things you should learn when playing vampires. Every turn, probably, assuming it's within reach, you have the possibility of sacking the ball. As long as your vampires are standing, you have 5 vampires minimum. You have 5 hypnogazes. You can probably reach the ball almost every turn. However, that's not always a good idea. What can you do with the ball when you get there? Can you get it safe, or you just base in every single one of your players to just try and knock the ball down on a 1 dice or something? That's not always a good idea. That's how you get bashed to shit. And sometimes, even if it is a good idea, if you open with a Bloodlust and then a failed Hypnogaze, do you want to carry on? Do you want to burn rerolls? You might roll more 1s, and now your rerolls are in the bin. So to me, what I normally do is I try to quickly assess in the first couple of actions whether or not the plan is still viable. If I roll a couple of 1s in the first few dice, there's no need usually, unless it's turn 7 or something, to carry on to like throw rerolls after bad rerolls, because next turn you will still have another chance at the ball because you're vampires, and people forget that. People just go all in. It's like, oh, I can hit the ball. I failed my hypno. I'll just use this other vampire to hypno. And it's like, I'll re-roll the hypno because it's such a good chance at the ball. You've always got a good chance at the ball. You're vampires. The trick to vampires is picking your moment. So that's, to me, is where the skill comes in, which is why I've really been enjoying vampires, because you have to do it quickly. You have to make those decisions on the fly because they're all the time, right? It's not like you're doing a 1 turn where you might be a mediocre player but good at 1 turns because you get 4 minutes to work it out. You have to make these decisions on the fly every turn. So the better you are at Blood Bowl, the more that will come through. So I am all in at the moment on trying to learn vampires. I think they're a really interesting team for that reason. And this matchup is good because Naama is really good. Top tier player. Like I said, I think the best Finnish player. And he has a team that can knock you out. Literally, I mean. Like, he has a big chaos team, Mighty Blow, DP. He can just bang you out, which is Vampire's main weakness. It's the same as other agility teams. You could just get smashed to shit. Most of your team is armor 7. Like, you can just get banged out. If you haven't got thralls to bite, if your vampires are on the floor, because most of your vampires are movement 6, on the floor makes them movement 3. Your 2 better vampires are armor 7. You know, lots of things can go wrong with vampires. They're not just some easy win, like, scenario. You can just get banged out really easily. And the worse you play them by doing what I said, throwing rerolls after bad rerolls, basing everyone up to try and get to the ball, even though you can't get that ball away and safe, you then take a shit ton more hits. You attrition yourself with biting your own thralls, and then the more you hypno people, the more you are based on people. And that is multiplied when you've got a team like Chaos, a team like Orcs, a team like Nurgle, anything with strength 4 that can 2 dice you straight in the face back when they unhypno. Real bad. So this was not a great matchup for me. Really good team, really good player. But I will say that the very first thing that happens, in my opinion, worst thing he could have done, he kicks. And I know why he did it. It's a thing, right? Vampires are better on defense. I'm using air quotes, you can't see it. Absolute and utter nonsense to just think that's a truism. It's the kind of same saying that has some truth to it, but much like, oh, the team that rolls the less dice is better. It comes from truth, but as a saying, it's regularly bollocks. Like, it's just not true, like, full stop. In this case, his best chance, in my opinion, was to just start banging me out straight from the start. Try to go men up immediately. and then force me to do a one turn or something. Yes, vampires are better on defense, but they're not nothing on offense. Like, I can hypno people, take away their skills. There are loads of armor 8 on his team. I have my own DP, I think. I'll check now. I have my own dirty player. Like, I can do my own damage. Don't just think I'm going to stand around. And most importantly, don't think that all vampire players are just going to try and two-turn. Like, that seems to be the thing. Bad vampire players will. But just banging in a two-turn straight off the bat, I've never assumed that was the best tactic. If you look back at my vampire games, that's not something I do that often. I'm fine stretching it out. I'm fine stretching it out to a full drive. Going 1-0 up on turn 8, that's fine, isn't it? You're just playing on defense for the win then. So I think he should have received, and I think it was probably the biggest mistake he makes all game. He makes some minor mistakes, but they're ones that are easy to miss. But this was the biggest mistake. Just straight off the bat, before the game's even started, he just casually decides to kick. And it's probably just an unthinking decision because vampires, right? Yeah, absolutely. And you notice I'm not setting up for a quick score or anything. I'm just going to punch him in the face. Like, I don't mind. He can only blitz once per turn, so I'm getting blitzed with Mighty Blow every turn anyway. So why wouldn't I just punch a bunch of Armor 8 guys? I'm sorry, there's a lot of problems with the skills here because there's a lot of skills in this game. So you're just going to have to like work out what these people have. This is the biggest problem, this guy. Block, Mighty Blow, Tackle. But he's also got another Mighty Blow. He puts both of his DPs on the LOS, which I didn't like. I would have put the wrestle on there and kept the DP back because I think he should have been fouling like every single turn that he could. He has 3 reserves, right? I don't hate the Vamp Dacker. I've just never had to do one. See, look, I took that block and then I moved this player. And you could, like, that's an obvious straight up error. If I want that player to be there, I could have moved it already. Like, it's not a major error, right? But it's an error. Yes, the huge problem. Get the ref exacerbates his issue that he didn't receive. So we've both got a bribe at this moment. And like I said, I've got my own DP. So I didn't bother re-rolling that. I've got a lot of re-rolls. I've got 5 re-rolls in leader, right? Both of these teams are about 1,700. So I got 5 re-rolls in leader and maybe 1,600. I don't know, something like that. So I didn't bother re-rolling that because my runners have pro. So for the start of the game, at least, I'm just going to pro bloodlists. 1680. Thank you, Basic. I don't bother blitzing. There wasn't really a particularly good blitz that didn't leave my players hanging out to get gang fouled. But I also only roll a 3 on my own foul, which sucks, right? Considering I've got DP and +3. That could have been a dead goat straight off the bat.
5 years soon after Miss Gold.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shorty. I appreciate it. Cheeky little founder going on. So yeah, I chose not to blitz. You don't always have to blitz. What I will say is I wasn't a massive fan of putting this thrall here. I think really I should have put the thrall one to the left. Because the problem is I'm exposing the runners to Mighty Blow Tackle if he wanted to do that. Whereas if the one to the left, he still can hit me with Mighty Blow Tackle, but he's coming in and getting punched back for free. He could come around the side here and hit me from there and be protected by guard from being hit back. So I think this thrall should have been one to the left. But like I said, I'm not making excuses for myself. I was sick, so I'm actually interested in seeing how I played. And because of that, I just stay there. You might think, oh, well, that's just silly. You've left yourself out in the open for that. But I already had exposed this one, so there wasn't really any need in moving the other one. Like, they're both identical runners, so you can only blitz one of them, so there was no need to risk a bloodlust. And it kind of protects a little bit against the gang fouls. And he chooses to just blitz a softer target. So this was the first mistake. And it's hard to call it an obvious error, right? It's not. This is, I mean, I'll big myself up in a sec, right? I don't mind saying good things about myself either. Right, so this doesn't look like that much of an error. But the problem is that what I said earlier before we started the game, vampires are better the better the player is. They have more options the better the player is. And right at this minute, he's given me an option that he doesn't realize is an option. If anyone wants to take a second to look at the pitch and see if you can guess what I'm talking about. The problem is I didn't go over my own team. So what skills I have is important. So if you don't know the skills of Fumbbl, then it's harder for you to see what I'm talking about. That is correct, Rib, yeah. And Wilking, yeah. So even though obviously he's not in a particularly surfable position, against vampires, this is a surfing possibility. And I thought it was good enough against a good team with a good coach that I would risk it. I would go for it. So because I got the bribe, I foul first because I want to move everyone. It is a 5% risk or something, right? Less than 5%, whatever it is, to get caught and to have the bribe fail. But the ball is safe. And I'm not going to get a good foul at the end of this turn. So I do it now before we leave. And I get a good reward. Off goes one of his players. So we hypno him. Because this is going on the outside anyway. And then this one from over here. That's only a 3+ hypno. But now it gets rid of this player. And the reason for doing that is that this player can take the block. And it gets a push. And as you can see now, really not that hard to surf him, is it? I've got Frenzy Juggernaut right there. All I needed really was this push. And amusingly, I roll a 1 in 9. Good old Juggernaut coming in handy. There he goes, off the pitch. and then I do the rush. I thought it was worth the 1 in 36 risks. The ball is still pretty safe here. Like, you can sort of technically reach it for a 1 dice or something with some dodges or pows or whatever, but the ball was pretty safe. So the reason I didn't move the ball is if I bloodlust, I have to bite something. And all of these players were kind of doing something. So the ball is sort of semi-safe. Like, it's not unsafe, right? It would have to be some incredible dice for him to turn this into a ball sack. Don't know why I did the hypno first before I stood him up. I could have just stood him up. Didn't matter because there's no, you can't get end turn with a hypno. Just don't know why I did it that way around. So now that turn, now suddenly this drive is very different, isn't it? We fouled out one of his DPs. We've removed one of his strength 4s off the pitch completely. I've taken no removals in return. And now you can see the difference between what an unthinking, lesser player with vampires would do, which is try and just roll a 2-turn. And me, right? I'm just banging him out, which he should be doing to me. I'm 2 players up against Chaos with no Mighty Blow on my team. It's crazy. Yeah, exactly, Wilking. Like, that's a really good coach, and it's not difficult for him to miss that I could surf there, right? It didn't look easy. Like, you glance at that pitch and you don't think, oh, surf. He's 3 squares away. He's protected by guard. And that's what it is. Like, you need to understand your options. Luckily, after 2 pows and 2 stuns, I was really worried about this block, right? Going 3 players down in 1 turn would have been really rough. So he chooses to do this 1 dice, which is on a blodger as well. I don't really know. I don't think that was particularly good. Because it allows me to try this, which is what's currently happening, right? This is just a straight block. And I take the push because I'm thinking I can surf this Mighty Blow. Like, doesn't seem like that, doesn't seem particularly difficult. Get another push. And I can stay. So now look, I can blitz if I want to down there. All I need is this square filled, and I can just surf him straight off the bat. And again, now that I've got those pushes, because I would have, if it was just a pow and a skull, I wouldn't have re-rolled or anything, right? I just powed him. I got a DP here as well. I could have just gone and fouled him off the pitch. But this is too juicy, right? Another surf because he chose to do that 1 dice. Because now the surf is a massive percentage because of Frenzy and Juggernaut, I don't think I'm going to foul this turn, so I use the DP to screen the ball in case something goes wrong. Now that I'm not taking the POW. So I put the sidestepper there, not the ball. I don't really want the ball on the sideline, just in case. Yeah, so I think he actually had a block with this one. If I go back and look, I think he had a block with this block guard. And then if he'd followed, there was a dodge out with the Mighty Blow. I think. And instead, he took the one dice with this instead. And again, Juggernaut does it. Look, no push there. Just Juggernaut getting me as 2 serfs. And gets me a KO. And instead of dodging out here, I take the block. I don't know if that's better or not, because this guy does have Mighty Blow Tackle, right? But if Mighty Blow Tackle is going to hit anyone, I kind of rather hit the armor 9+ guy. So I don't know if I was thinking about that or whether I just wanted to take another block, knowing that on a POW, this strength 4 guard is kind of stuck down. So I don't know which way round I was thinking. But at the moment, I've removed 3 of his players. So this drive is looking like I'm just going to stall it out to turn 8. And now the problem is he has to score and take it to overtime at that point, because he's not one turn in, is he? So now it's all about the second half pretty much already, and it's only turn 3. I'm not taking anything for granted. Like, obviously the damage I've done is not real. I didn't do any, like, I didn't get any removals with the serfs. It's just for this drive. And like I said, Naama's a really good coach, so. And luckily, again, the Mighty Blow Tackle just gets pushes. And then a 1 in 9. So that guy survived anyway, which is pretty nice. A little bit of a weird blitz. Not a good turn for him, block dice-wise, obviously. Odd blitz, though. I think he's just worried. I kind of get it. Like, because I've still got the bribe at this point, I would kind of be worried about the DP as well. So it's not a crazy bad blitz or anything. Just a little odd that he went in for it. I've got wrestle, so there's no point in blitzing me with block. So the wrestle blitz was fine. Not with any real care, right? Maybe a double rush 1 dice on a blodger. Usually not worth it. Double rush dodge. So he's got 2 heads. So maybe he could have come around and 1 diced me. And possibly needed rushes to come around and base this guy as well. So maybe like 5 twos to 1 to 6 plus the ball. And the thing that he's risking is his ball carrier when he's doing that, right? That's who can hit the ball. I actually give a shit about this guy. 2 heads, sure hands, like it's a good ball carrier. Okay, but the same as the other way around, right? That means he has to tag the guy with his ball carrier and then hit with the wrestle. Same 5 twos, and he's still risking the ball carrier. It is a 5+, but there's no recovery. Even if he gets the 5+, the most likely scenario is I just pick the ball back up next turn. And he's probably burnt rerolls for that, right? So this turn is interesting. I have multiple choices. I could have gone up here. I could have gone for this guy and tried to foul this block guard stand firm guy. Which I actually don't hate looking at this now. It's pretty easy to get a hypno and then blitz him or something and then gang foul him and still block this guy as well. But it looks like I'm coming back around this way because I think, as I just said, I'm going for the ball carrier. Now that I'm men up on this turn, on this drive, sorry, I'm looking at what I want to kill. And primarily is Mighty Blow Tackle, and second is his ball carrier. You might notice I don't have strip. So sure hands. is just to save him rerolls. So it's not incredible. So Mighty Blow Tackle is more important to kill. See you later, basic. But the ball carrier is still something I really want to get rid of. The 2 heads is good. So I bloodlusted there, and I didn't want to bite because I want to hit this ball carrier. So I used my leader reroll. It's turn 4. I still haven't used a reroll. I got 5 left. I was okay with it. Get the POW. Don't hurt him. Knock my own player out. But I do knock out his ball carrier. Which, you know, was fine. I'm okay with that. Another player down, but I took one out, so I'm still 3 players up. And 2 really, really nice dodges. Getting your thralls free, even when you're like in control like this, super important. So just one of them being free was fine. Both of them being free, great dice for me. Little bit of turn ordering here. Like, you know, at this point, he's just trying for damage, right? He knows he's lost his drive. He's only got 7 players on the pitch, so I don't hate that he just didn't care that much. Obviously, he should have moved before taking the blitz, but he's just trying for damage. He knows the drive's over. And he gets his own. This is what I mean, right? First foul gets a removal. Now I'm only 2 players up. This is what he could have been doing since the start if he'd chosen to receive. And he makes his own dodge, which is really good for him. So now, I mean, looking at this, the obvious is to go back up the right, like Hypno and blitz this block guard stand firm guy. And then gang foul with the DP because he's on this side. I don't have to. I can still go through this one on the left. Either way is okay because the ball is on the left. So, but looking at this, what I would do right now is I'd go for this guy. So, I put the thrall there because obviously I want to blitz up and I want the gang foul, and then this is a good screen on the side. I did Bloodlust, so I used my pro on the Bloodlust. And then I get the Hypno. I do use another reroll on a Bloodlust because, again, I don't want to bite if I don't have to, and I've got enough rerolls that I don't have to. Using rerolls on Bloodlust is similar to using rerolls on trees that roll take root. Sometimes you have to eat it, but most of the time that's what you want to use your rerolls for. On halflings, obviously. And that right there is great. Right? That I did exactly what I wanted to do. I got a nice gang foul. The block guard stand firm, eats a Kaz. He even uses the Apo and it doesn't work. That's a huge removal for me for the game in total. That's a strength 4 block guard stand firm gone for the entire game. It eats my bribe, but I don't care at that point. That's an amazing swap. And like I said, this is just what the plan was from the start. It's not, I'm not dicing him or anything. Gang fouling with DP is going to get these results quite often. Yeah, okay, if I hadn't had the bribe, I would have been sent off right now as a swap, but it still would have been an amazing swap, right? The DP for that guy. So even without the bribe, it still would have been great. And just to be a dick, I base the strength 4 on this side with the tackle wrestle. You can tell that I didn't really think too much about it. Like, he was there as a screen, and this had all happened. Now he'd been removed. I was like, all that matters really is I don't want to guard, because if he puts the guard in, he could.
Yeah. So
You
start chopping a tree, and the game is like, you're going to be done.
Why have I got
4
Page
kicks,
now? What is going on with my...
Which is, what, like 2.4 seconds?
Good lord. Get away from me, people. People keep raiding other people in the background, and, like, it turns off mute or whatever. So I assume that, like, Rick raided Devo, who raided Page. Christ. Yeah, so what was I saying? So the thing that I was worried about and why I did this at the end, I only had one player left, and I took a minute to think. And because obviously this drive is now dead and buried, right? And he might be worried about the game completely with that removal. So he might just go in and try to do something big. If he sticks the guard in, he could use the Mighty Blow Tackle to blitz one of my vampires. And that could be a real horrible removal. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna tag the guard. So I'm guessing, like, I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but that's what I'm thinking right now. So I'm assuming that's what I was thinking then. Which is why it happened after all of these other rolls. Because it mattered that I got this removal. If this was just a stun, I probably wouldn't care so much because he wouldn't have been so desperate. Does get the power on that vampire. And luckily he's alive. Honestly, if you were going to do that foul, I would probably have stuck the wrestle in and cancelled the assist and made sure that it was a +1. Like, the negative assist here, cancelling the positive assist, means this foul is pretty shit. And it means I get to block his DP and foul it next turn. So, yeah, I don't think I like that much. But, again, he's in a lot of trouble here, isn't he? Like, he's chaos into vampires, and he has 5 players on the pitch. That, the drive hasn't gone well, right? I surfed 2, I've fouled 2. Wait, no, I surfed 2 or 3? I surfed 2 and I fouled 2. That's only 4. I think I fouled 3. That must have been where they're gone. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to blitz the Mighty Blow Tackle, right? I'm just hypnoing people out of the way. Get the POW. So because all these hypnos worked, I did have a block on this DP, but I just want to put an extra assist in on the Mighty Blow Tackle instead. I really want this Mighty Blow Tackle dead, And I roll another 3. Super unfortunate. So because of that, because of the hypno, by the way, these are all standing. So I've given him a chance at hitting the ball here, which I shouldn't have done. With this dodge out, I just really, really wanted to kill this might blow tackle. But this guy should have just run off up the pitch. There was no reason for him to just hide there. It allows him to try like a dodge around the back and then full pow me. So this was a mistake. I just wasn't thinking too much. I got bloodlusty about like killing his mighty blow tackle, and I put this guy in the wrong square. Really that simple. And he fails the dodge anyway, so I get away with it. I mean, it's a 3-2-2 30%, so it wasn't a great issue. And again, no recovery or anything like that, right? But I still shouldn't have left it on. I could have just potatoed off up the pitch and I would have been completely fine. Get a KO on the Mighty Blow Tackle. I'll be honest with you, I was kind of sad that I got 2 massive gang fouls on the Mighty Blow Tackle with no Apo in play, and I only got a KO. I would have been very happy to see that dead. That probably would have been the game right there. I got plenty of bench, so I don't mind if I snake a bloodlust there and eat someone, but I still have 3 rerolls left, so I don't bother. I even reroll that because it doesn't matter, right? That player's there now, so I can score no matter what. I can't foul, sadly. And there we go, an 8-turn drive. Like I said, vampires don't have to 2-turn. So this was an interesting choice. An interesting choice. An interesting thing. I didn't actually have to make the choice of whether or not to put vampires on. Because obviously you could get a situation where he gets an extra turn, and therefore vampires might be necessary to stop a 2-turn. However, it's sweltering heat, and it basically removed that decision for me. Between the KO and 3 on the sweltering heat, I had to put all my players on the pitch. And it meant that he was only setting up with 6 players, by the way. But luckily it's for turn 8. Luckily for him, it's only turn 8. No removals. And thanks to his KOs, think he's setting up with 9 for the second half. So I normally mess around with my setups, right? I like setting up on the aggressive line, which is the 2 squares back, even though quick snap is a thing, with the slower sacking teams, so dark elves and vampires especially. I don't hate doing it with rats, even though they're not a slower sacking team. But I like these extra squares, right? These vampires are only movement 6, so getting them forward in case they fail a pickup or I get a blitz or whatever, or they don't defend the ball well after the first turn. I like having these extra squares of movement. And I also like being spread out. I hate doing Rule 5. Of course, it does expose vampires. It exposes this one. I didn't expose the one on the right. Normally, these two are chevron the other way, but I didn't know what he was going to be doing. He's got a block guard stand firm, and my frenzy's over there, so he could have put a guard in and 2 dice to vampire because he might be desperate. So I thought I'd hide the vampires a little bit. But really, this is, at this point, this is kind of my game to lose, right? 9 versus 11. Yeah, okay, I can lose 1 or 2 on the LOS maybe and be 9v9, but that's exactly what you want as vampires. He isn't missing anything important. The thing that we killed is the most important thing. Oh, sorry, he's missing his second DP, but he's already got one. The thing we killed is the most important thing he's missing, and we are missing absolutely nothing I give a shit about at all. Every vampire is still on the pitch. You will notice, by the way, I've only got 5 vampires. That's not because one's missing. I tend to only play with 5. I would take a 6th vampire in NAF style, and I would take a 6th vampire if I was carrying on in a league after like 1500 or whatever. But with redraft, I don't even know if it's worth taking a 6th vampire in any kind of progression. Because it's just another blitzer who's another 3+ bloodlust. I don't think it's that good to do that. An extra thrall on the pitch, less TV. Like, you could have a thrall and a reroll for that extra blitzer, which is pretty great. So he does remove, and I'm not using my Apo for a KO, because I'm thinking I've still got enough on the pitch. I can still win this with the players on the pitch. And if something does go wrong and he keeps removing, I might need my Apo for overtime, so... And he 1 in 9's the pickup, and I'm like, oh baby, okay, let's go. I mean, and if vampires see a 1 in 9 pickup, like, you should be salivating. Like, even more so probably than like rats and woodies or whatever. Like, because you have the ability to just remove players out of the way between you and the ball. Whereas they've got to do like dodges and leaps and things. You can just literally walk up and remove the players completely between you and the ball. So absolutely salivating at this point. So I immediately hit the hypno and bite my own player, which sucks. So he's tagged, and he's tagged now. These two obviously can reach up here. But I need the block. And I roll pushes, and I reroll with pro into more pushes. So I can't reach the ball as well as I was hoping I would. Obviously, with a knockdown, I would have 2 blodge steppers on the ball immediately. But a 90-odd% failure on the knockdown kind of evens out, right? He had an 89% failure on the pickup, so I'm not going to complain about it. It happens. But very unfortunate we don't just win immediately this turn. So I want everyone tagged, right? So I tag this guy, He's tagged. This one's obviously going to go up on the ball. And we do use our first reroll straight away to Hypno here because I want to get through to the ball on this side as well. I don't want this to just be just having this Blodge Stepper on the ball because there's a Mighty Blow tackle here that can just take it out. So we get the Blodge Stepper on the ball. And then we go for the pickup with this vampire. And I do invest the reroll. It's only a 3+, right? 89% pickup to get it on a strength 4 Blodge. And I won in 9 as well. I snake, in fact. I think the only thing I don't like there is I didn't move this last player. This player could have done something else. I don't know what it could have done, but it could have done something. Maybe tagged at the start here. Like, probably could have gone in this square. This seems like a really good square for this player to have gone into, right? Considering I was dodging with the vampire through this square. So I wouldn't be in my own way. So I think this was a mistake. I think being here would have been a lot stronger. And he gets a power and a removal. Pretty great. Gets another pow. And a stun. Pretty great. Builds himself a little cage. You might think, what's happening here? I got it, obviously, after a second of looking. I was like, oh, wait, he's going to put it on the strength 4. Because he doesn't think he can protect the strength 3 here. But that, that's more chances of things going wrong, right? He's got a dodge, which is a straight 2+. Got to pick up in a tackle zone. Got to dodge again and do a handoff. That's a lot of dice rolling that could go wrong and just lose. And there's the first reroll gone immediately because he doesn't have dodge. It just has 2 heads. Does make the pickup. Does make the second dodge. And a rush. Reroll again. And then the handoff works. That cost him 2 rerolls. But it didn't go wrong. It just cost him 2 rerolls. But now the ball is on a strength 4. And I don't have strip ball. So that does make it considerably more difficult for me. I have 2 stuns this turn, including a vampire, which might as well be 1 less hypno gaze. That's all you need to think about it as. So for me, this turn here is probably just a consolidation turn. So I get my vampire back and I get my thrall back. So I don't need to go all in here. But he has quickly made a 9v9. And like I said, this is what could have happened in the first half. You get banged out. Like, this is what he could have been doing in the first half. And we could have been playing this half with me being 1-0 down. I get a stun there, which is really nice. Like, I'm not even going to pretend that's not nice. That's a really nice stun on an armor 9+ piece. Like, it is armor broken, but I did roll 11, so it wouldn't have mattered. I bloodlust and profile, so I'm gonna have to bite, and because I didn't get a POW, I'm not following. Right? Because if I follow, I just give him an assist that he doesn't have to move. So this is a good time to talk about that. Sometimes basing people is bad, right? Because what this does, look, is I give him an assist. Not that he needs one because he's blitzing with strength 4 in general. But it's just, good thinking. I give him an assist, and then he can move the DP afterwards to, for example, foul. Whereas if I'd followed, he could blitz and he could block and get a full power, right? could remove 2 players. There's no real benefit to following there. So I might as well just stay here. Fail my Hypno and fail my Pro again. And roll pushes. And I choose to push upwards and stick on the Blodge Steppers because I don't want this guy over here just getting blocked. Yeah, okay, it does do what I just said. It gives him a 2 dice block on a Blodge Stepper. But in this case, there was a downside to not doing it, which is he just gets to block this defenseless Thrall. And this Thrall is actually in a really good position. It's forcing him out wide, or it's eating the blitz. So this was just a consolidation turn. I took some blocks. I didn't get very good dice. In fact, I had very bad dice. But now I've got this vampire back, and he has to care about it because he's at the back. And he doesn't have this this blocker to stand up. Yes, if he gets pushes, he pushes it up into the Mighty Blow. Like it was all pretty bad. This Thrall is a nicely placed defensive piece. I did not want that to be a problem. And you'll notice because he took the block in his pushes, now I am going to base on the DP because he's taken this block. That means that these 3 players are where they are. All he's got now is the cage and the DP. So suddenly I'm fine basing the DP because I don't want him to move too far away from this vampire. If he moves more than 3 squares away from this vampire, it doesn't have the ability to hypnogaze something. So I want to hold him in place. And I luckily get away with that. He can't re-roll it because he used re-rolls on the previous, like, getting into a cage. So I'm very happy that was a push. Again, I can hold on to the DP. And now, suddenly, his cage isn't that strong either, is it? Like, he's moved 4 players, the DP is tagged, and he needs to make a cage somewhere. And it is not going to be away from that vampire that is back up. Does make the dodge. And gets a stun and doesn't get caught. So he kind of solves that problem a little bit. Let's go with a little bit. Not completely. But it does help. Like I said, he's a good coach. He recognized the issue and he tried to fix it and got the dice. So this, again, is one of those turns, right? I don't need to be in that much of a rush. The ball is going to be in trouble every turn. But also, if I just give him blocks every turn, I could start losing players every turn, and then he just gets to walk down the pitch on turn 6. So I do need to care that the time is ticking. The turns are moving on. Bloodlust this time pros, and I get just a rando removal, which is fucking delightful. He goes down to 8. I mean, he's armor 8, right? It was bound to happen at some point. Took me 11 turns. It's fine. And pro, by the way, got me that because of the bloodlust. I didn't have to re-roll that. And I stay there to make sure that this guard can't go anywhere. So we are going to try and hypnogaze in and see if this works. There's one. Just pushes, which I thought was really annoying. And I didn't want to bite. If I'd rolled a POW, I think I might have bitten. I don't know right now because I don't remember what I was thinking at the time. But looking at it now, and thinking about it now, if I'd rolled a POW there, I think I probably would have bitten and gone in to base the ball. but without the POW, not as strong. No reason, in my opinion, to therefore remove one of my own players or possibility of it. He's tagged off. He's tagged off. He's tagged off the DP. The Mighty Blow Tackle is tagged off. We got a Blodge Stepper, a Blodge Stepper. So this guy isn't in any danger. The fact that he's no longer Blodge, he's still Strength 4. So I thought this was good enough. Like I said, it's just one of those decisions you make on the fly. I can wait till next turn to threaten the ball, to base the ball, whatever. Gets a POW, but no armor break, which we like. And he pushes off to the left. He has got to get forward. It is turn 4. It's even though like it's on strength 4, that does mean it's also on movement 5. Gets a 1 dice POW, which is super annoying. So, looking at what I would do here, obviously this is just a straight stand to keep him tagged. I think at this point I will attack the ball. If I'm me, I would attack the ball, or rather attack the cage. Not necessarily attack the ball, but attack the cage. Make sure the cage can't move and reform. Base everyone up. Hypno things. This is the turn to go in. It's turn 4. He's still in his own half. I need to slow him down, and if he's going to try and push forward, he's not going to do it safely. So this is the turn that, in my opinion, it's quite clear you should be pushing at the ball, pushing at the cage. So let's see what I do. So there's a Hypno straight off the bat. So these two are tagged. Back of the cage is tagged. I still haven't stood this guy up, which I don't know what I'm waiting for. This feels like I'm going to dodge or something. I really should have stood this guy up before I was doing that. I don't know if I'm planning on moving him or something. We'll see. That was definitely a 1 in 36. I mean, he is tagged. And I do have to roll some 1 in 36s, but this would have been bad, right? Because he's not there, so he's not tagged. So I had 1 in 36 there is pretty bad. But I guess I have a plan for doing things. I need this guy to be based or whatever. Oh, I know what it is. I want to take this block. I want to take this block, and the only way I can do that is to Hypno him, because this is going to be 2 into 1 otherwise, so I need this guy to go there. He should already be there in that case, but that's what I need to happen, him to go there. So that this is 2 into 2. Ugh. That's real bad, isn't it? And then I do stand him up. I guess maybe I was doing other things if these were POWs or whatever. And I use a full team reroll, not pro. I'm not eating that there. That's pretty terrible. Ah, now I've done all of that and I've hypnoed. That is 2 dice on the ball, isn't it? Because I've hypnoed there and I've hypnoed there. So that's what it was. I did have a plan. Look at me. Now I get 2 dice on the ball. 2 dice on a blockless ball carrier as well. Down he goes. And I catch it on the strength 4. However, that is an assist and this is a 2 heads dodge. So it's not safe on the strength 4 at all. That's just a straight 2 dice on the ball for a 2+. But better than it not being on him, right? So I'll take it. And more importantly, I am burning time, right? Now he has to sack me, pick the ball up, and get down the pitch. And he's starting on turn 5. I will say that means that 1 dice POW was just insanely important, right? If he just rolled a push on that one dice pow, this guy could have blocked him back, and if I'd knocked him down, this was game winning. He does roll a 1 and burn a reroll, which is lovely. And then rolls pushes and uses his last reroll to get the pow. So he has no rerolls anymore now. So even though I just said that was a free 2 dice on the ball, cost him 2 rerolls. Lovely for us. Gets a removal, and there goes my Apo. I don't mind that. He comes back on turn 6. And more importantly, it's square blocked. It's a pretty good square to be blocked, right? And now these are blockless blocks with no reroll. So now it's just squeaky bum time for him. And that's a dodgeless dodge. And a 1 in 9 pickup. But he does get the ball. And he is using my dead body as a cage corner, which is kind of nice. I like that. So he just hypnos straight away. We get rid of this guy. It is now on strength 3, remember? So there is the possibility of a chain here, isn't it? He comes in there. And then this block here, if it's a POW, moves him out of the way, like so. But those are my only strength 4s. So maybe I don't do that. Maybe I use a 2+ dodge to come round and hit him with the frenzy guy, because then it's 2 dice. So we either have to hypno this DP, probably just hypno the DP, and then move him around the top to base, and then this guy does a 2+ dodge, comes in there, and it's 2 dice on the ball. Oh no, looks like we're going for the... Oh no. Ah, right. So it looks like I thought about doing that, and then I realized exactly what I just realized just now. It's kind of interesting that my thought process seems similar. Like, I don't remember what I thought, right? I'm making it up on the spot. But the main reason to put him in there was for the chain. So maybe I did that, seeing the chain, and then while I was playing was like, hang on, it's better to go this way because I don't have another strand 4. Exactly as I just did out loud. That's kind of cool, isn't it? I like that. That's pretty cool. So we do get the hypno. We do get the base. And then we just go for the ball. There's no reason to move these other players because I don't know what's going to happen with the ball hit. It's 2 into 1. I don't mind this being based on the block guard there. And I don't know where this guy needs to go. So I might as well leave myself some movement, some reaction if I do get a POW. Which I do without needing a reroll. Oh, it's so annoying, isn't it? So I just nip in for a 4+ pickup. Easy as you like. Get it? So now again. So even though I can get hit here, like all of this can still happen. I can still get sacked, etc. It's time, right? Every single turn that I end up doing something like this, it's a turn gone. He's now on turn 6. It's looking less and less likely that he's going to score this drive. It's kind of interesting how he does it, right? Does the block, and then because this guy's got 2 heads, he does the 2+ dodge. It is definitely the most likely chance of sacking me, so it's the right play. But it's interesting that he noticed that instead of just going for the 3+ dodge on the outside, which is the thing that a lot of people might just instantly see as free. You could have thought, because I had loads of movement left, I could have run away, right? But the problem is the only direction I can run is back towards my own end zone. So if he does end up rolling a bunch of dice, dodges, rushes, pows, the ball is getting sacked down here, which is much better for him. Like, I would rather the ball be sacked in his half, because even if it is sacked, he has to still pick it up and get all the way down here. I don't want to help him with that. I don't want to move the ball in the direction that he wants it to move. Unfortunately for him, he gets pushes, so doesn't get the sack. And then fails a dodge and removes himself as well. So pretty great. I mean, to me, that's the end of the game, right? And now we're just looking at horrendous snakes or something to lose this game. This was pretty much the end. He might even have GG'd me at this point if he was that kind of person. And we get rid of him as well with the POW. That is 100% the end of the game. Doesn't have a ball carrier anymore. Doesn't have the mighty blow tackle. Has no one really who could get the ball and still score. Like, it's over at this point. And I'm quite happy because, you know, I didn't really have big plans to win the Steel Gauntlet or anything. I entered just because I was trying to push Black Box Trophy, and it feels a bit weird to play Black Box Trophy, get top of, like, you know, half a dozen races and then not bother to enter Steel Gauntlet. But this is, to me, still, like, you know, it's easy to say that now, but if you go back in time before I played it or whatever, I still said the same thing. This is the only, or was the only major that I gave a shit about on Fumbbl. The others were silly. As I've said, they've made some changes now with redraft. The other ones are a little less silly. And then none of this matters. The game's over. Because I don't really have any reason to play this team again, I didn't bother looking to see if I should have scored on someone else at this point. I probably should have. I just didn't care enough. I was more than happy to just win the Steel Gauntlet. Snake the Bloodlust at the end, didn't matter. I wasn't Snake, it was 1 in 9 because it was a blitzer. I'm sure he was well happy to see that as his last block of the game. Oh, there we go. I did notice. I went to score on this other one instead. There we go. And that was that. I was the Steel Gauntlet champion. I did get a little bit of, not stick exactly, but a couple of people did message me to just, I don't know, complain that I wasn't, like, happy enough or something. Like, I was happy to win the Steel Gauntlet. Like, it just wasn't my goal on Fumbbl, so it wasn't like something I was like all in for. Winning Black Box Trophy was why I showed up on Fumbbl in the first place. But I was more than happy to win this. I think this is a good scalp, a good thing to win, especially as my opponents were a really strong set of coaches. Like, if the worst person you play out of 5 is Yuri, like, that's a really good set of fucking coaches you just beat. So I was more than happy to win this. Don't think I was, just because I'm not all like, woohoo. That's just not me, that's all. Next time, if I win anything, I'll play We Are the Champions or something, and then people can shut up. So hopefully there was some insight in that, if for those of you who are interested in playing vampires or even against vampires. Like I said, weirdly, I think the game wasn't decided, obviously. The whole game was played, but I think a big part of that game was that he chose to, I'll talk about it again, even though I banged on about it at the start, he chose to kick. And then almost immediately from that point on, he was on the back foot. Because I never let him get on the front foot. Like, he made that... Again, it's hard to call it an error, right? Because... not to big myself up, but 99% of your opponents would probably not have seen and done that surf, which basically ended the drive. The minute he loses a strength 4 player on like turn 2, the drive is almost over. Like, he is literally in defensive mode, like struggling to catch up from every turn on from that. So I'm gonna take credit for that, you know? Like, I saw that pretty quick. I did it right, and it worked, and it helped me out. And again, I'm also gonna take credit for the fact that, like, I think it's a thing that you should know, that you don't have to quick score with vampires, that this weird, like, vampires are really good on defense seems to mean that you don't play offense. That's just stupid. Of course you can. Especially once you've got skills. I've seen lots of vampire teams where they do have a Mighty Blow blitzer. They definitely have DPs. Like, of course you can play an 8-turn drive. People act like it's some weird thing. I play 8-turn drives more than I play quick scores. The quick score is for when you're worried that the quick score is going to be hard. Sorry, when the score is going to be hard. Like, you just want to bang them out sometimes. This is an Armor 8 team. I had DPs, and then I got a bribe off the kickoff. You might notice I didn't set up and react to the bribe. I was already playing an 8-turn drive in my head. That just made it easier for me. And yeah, I think Naama was just struggling, not because of his skill level. After he made to me the mistake of kicking, and then made the mistake of getting surfed. Everything after that, he was just at a disadvantage. As long as I don't fuck up at that point, like, I'm a better coach, and he's at a disadvantage, you don't win that game. He had no choice, like, other than to lose that game at that point. That was mine to lose every turn. Could he have swung back? Of course he could. Vampires could get banged out pretty easily. But he would have needed luck rather than skill. And probably a fair bit of it. Well, I did have some bad turns in the second half, and he still didn't get out of his own half with the ball. Dice-wise, I mean bad turns. Anyway, hope anyone watched that, was interested. I will do some more of these. I do like Penguin Academy myself, especially if it's a game that happened not in recent memory. So I don't remember what I was thinking at the time. It was interesting to see that some of those turns, I basically talked through what I would do now and then watched myself do it. which, you know, I think is the mark of someone who's had a lot of practice, that you're going to do the same thing, that it's not just making shit up as you go along. It is analyzing the situation and coming up with what you think is the best solution. If I'm going to do it now and I did it then, pretty cool, right? So I'll do some more of me playing games in the future. On Blood Bowl 3 as well, I know a lot of people don't like watching Fumbbl. But in this case, I'm all in on the vamps at the moment, so that's the only place I can play vampires. So you'll have to put up with it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.